All right, troops, fall in. Stand, jump. Right hand, salute.
Imagine life for a boy without scouting. No more camping trips or canoeing. No life-saving. No more community service projects. Help get more boys in scouting.
Can't a homosexual be a good Boy Scout?
I have no doubt he probably could. So could a cannibal, for that matter, but that's not the issue.
From the Supreme Court tonight, a decision on gays and the Boy Scouts of America. It came in a challenge from an Eagle Scout who was ousted by the organization when they learned that he was gay.
If I were a parent, I couldn't tell you how comfortable I would be knowing that my son was on a camping trip with a homosexual man.
If he isn't affecting the children and the children don't affect him anyway, what's the deal? I mean, like, there's nothing wrong.
They're a private organization. They have the right to do what they want to. And now they've got the Boy Scouts of America, Girl Scouts of America. They may now need a Gay Scouts of America.
Boys will be boys. That's what the fables tell. But Scouts need to show by their pluck and go that boys can be men as well. While a scouting, 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 there is danger to be dared. And at every turn there is something new to learn. So Scouts, be prepared.
On Sierra trails, we Diamond O Scouts hike each day, from our mountain camp to lakes and meadows far away. Mountaineers and rangers and vigilantes play. I remember the swimming hole. I remember the hike we did over Bald Mountain to catch the sunrise there. Hiked along, and I was the last one in line, and I saw the rattlesnake that everybody else had passed by, and which we captured and took back to camp, buzzing all the while. Went to Troop 30, where I met my wife, incidentally, on a Boy Scout paper drive. The outdoor adventure of Boy Scout really grabbed me, and has remained something that I'm interested in through all my life, and, well, my kids are still interested in it.
Help me get her. Did you see that? I'll get her, watch. I'll get her. See, I can't grab her, that's the problem. I've been in Boy Scouts for about 3 years now. It's really fun. I've almost got my Eagle. Just 4 more merit badges, and got to finish my Eagle project.
He's a real risk taker, physically speaking. No hazard awareness, number one. Not fearful at all.
Whoa! Clear the garbage.
He's always been a child with this big curiosity for life. In every way. I can't think of anything he really doesn't like other than chores.
Now, if we pick enough of these, we can get like a jar of honey.
Yeah, right.
We can sell it and make lots of money.
No, it's not the right time.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Honeysuckle honey.
Dad, it's nectar, okay?
So
it's
what?
not honey.
Yes, it is.
It's nectar.
You're a nectar.
Whoa. Our trip goes on outings every month, hiking, 50-milers, canoe trips, fishing. I like the 50-milers and camping because it's like you're out in the woods and your life's in your own hands, and you have to take care of yourself by like eating plants and stuff.
Oh, he loved it. They kept the fire going all night. He said he hardly slept. They ate lettuce and, I don't know, they made tea out of some water that they had. They stuck some green foliage in it. The Boy Scouts was like a whole new awakening. They treated the boys like men almost.
A 19-year-old Eagle Scout is suing the Boy Scouts of America for $500,000. The organization kicked him out because he's an admitted homosexual.
Homosexuality is inconsistent with the family values that Scouting stresses, and we also feel that a homosexual is not a good role model for a pre-adolescent or an adolescent.
Scout leader is someone who's going to be emulated by younger Scouts, who's going to be a role model, and that he should be moral, which is a principle I agree with. I think they're absolutely right. However, our point of disagreement was that they said that because I was a homosexual, I was, by definition, immoral.
Nowhere does it say anything about homosexuality in Scouting. Nowhere in my Scout handbook was it ever mentioned. So I had no reason to think that there was anything in Scouting against being gay. I was the first person to find out that you couldn't be gay in Scouting.
Suddenly it hit the paper that Tim Curran was suing the Boy Scouts of America 18 years ago. I remember at that time wrestling with the idea, what would I do as a Scoutmaster if a Scout or Assistant Scoutmaster told me that he was gay, and what should he do about it?
Tenderfoot was to join.
And I wrestled with that for a long, long time.
I would say that as a kid I was kind of a Boy Scout. I was the one who sort of joined things and organized things and very enthusiastic. So joining the Boy Scouts when I was 14 was sort of a natural step for me.
He was the type of boy that just about any mother would pray that their son would grow up to be.
When Tim was perhaps 17, he said to his stepfather and to me, I need to talk to you. I have something very important to say. What a position for a 17-year-old. Said, I have thought a lot about this. There is nothing that you can say to me that would change anything. I just want you to know that I am gay.
To be honest with you, it never crossed my mind that there would be a problem. My troop had known I was gay. The Scoutmaster was concerned about parental reaction and had called the parents on the troop committee and asked them if they had a problem with me continuing as an Assistant Scoutmaster. And to a person, they said, no, we know the guy, we trust the guy, this hasn't changed anything. So I had no reason to think that there would be a problem, because I was under the impression that troops are permitted to make their own decisions about adult leaders.
With people in the National, I never got very far with them. He's gay, he's out, forget it.
For some reason, Mary couldn't go to church with me, so I was alone in the pew. And the pastor's sermon was on the topic of sometimes you just gotta do something. In your own way, you're expected to do something. And I recall that the sensation I got was, you're there, you know, you can, you must.
First was in 1980 when Tim Curran was kicked out of Scouting, and it was reported in the papers. I remember.
It's called Scouting for All, and we're just trying to change the policy of the Boy Scouts of America discriminating against gays.
When I think of Scouting for All, the first thing I think of is this little, what was supposed to be a little table set up to gather petitions at our local Lucky's grocery store.
12-year-old Stephen Koza says the Boy Scouts' policy of excluding gays from Scouting is contrary to the Scouting Code.
The reason why I'm here today is...
Stephen is a 7th grader at Petaluma Junior High and holds a life rank in the Boy Scouts, a step below Eagle Scout. His father, Scott, is Assistant Scoutmaster.
The Boy Scouts' policy right now of discrimination only adds to that feeling of rejection that gay youth experience.
Stephen says he's not gay, but it doesn't really matter. This is about doing what he feels is right. In Petaluma, Diane Garazzi for the 10 o'clock news.
This is Scouting for All. You may have heard Steve Koza speak or seen him in the paper.
They changed the Boy Scouts policy of discrimination against gay kids and adults. And then we're starting up a petition.
Oh, yeah, I'll sign it. But I'm not a Boy Scout.
It's okay.
Had no idea what it was going to turn into, how well-known Steve Koza would be. I knew there had to be young people that felt this way, but it's a difficult topic to bring up.
Certainly Stephen had the spark and enthusiasm for changing the policy for the Boy Scouts. I've never been a Boy Scout. It's not my thing. I'm a 4-H person myself.
Stephen has been raised by parents who do believe in treating people fairly. Has he absorbed his parents' teaching about moral values? Of course he has. And then it's Steve that stands up and speaks.
Ladies and gentlemen, young man, Stephen Koza.
Hi, how's everybody doing today? Are you enjoying the parade? I have a role model, and he was my church camp role model. He taught us everything, family values, moral issues. He taught us about God. You know something? He's gay.
I met Stephen Koza when he was a very young boy at his first children's camp, which was 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. Many people would wonder how a gay man could be a role model for a young straight boy. I remember when I asked him why he became involved. He said, because I could not imagine that anyone could keep you from being a Boy Scout leader.
They say if someone's in scouting and he's gay, that I'll want to become gay, or someone else will want to become gay. Like, he'll influence them to become gay. My dad went to a Catholic school, and he was taught by nuns, and he didn't become a nun. That's just a joke I say, Mom. Now I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for all the gay youths who have taken their lives because they felt rejected or like they didn't belong. And I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for all gay youth and adults who are in scouting now this day, who have to hide who they are because of the fear of being kicked out.
Steve, you're going to have to take some of these off for me, buddy. Put new ones on.
Oh.
Like, you can put this one away.
Oh my God, you almost did this one?
Yeah, here.
Is this one done?
Yeah, that one's done, this one's done. Here.
Would you like to sign our petition to allow gay kids in the Boy Scouts?
Petition asking the Boy Scouts not to discriminate against gay youth and adults. Did you know they discriminated?
Yeah, I heard.
The more people that become aware of this, the more the Boy Scouts policy will be chipped away from. I was teaching children about self-esteem, peer pressure, and then I learned that the highest rate in suicide is in lesbian and gay kids. And it's because of programs like the Boy Scouts discriminating against gay youth. It's because people like me were in the closet. And I said, that's it, I can't perpetuate this. I gotta come out, gotta educate people. And not only are people like me doing it, but people that are straight as well, like Steve Koza is doing it.
Support gay kids. They're being discriminated against. Come on, support gay kids. Think how they feel. Come on.
Would you like to support?
No, you know, I did sign it, and I want to remove my name because I'm very paranoid about signing any petition. It has nothing to do with the cause, which I totally agree with.
Do you have anything special for Eagle Scouts?
Oh my God, you were an Eagle Scout.
Troop 174.
Hey, that's a true bourbon.
I was in Indianapolis.
Oh, did you like it?
It was okay. Could have been a lot better if I could have been out.
Yeah. Yeah, let's stay here till 6.
In 17 years, you really get kind of committed to something. I realized that it was something of a long shot. It was certainly worth doing, if only because it would give me a chance to engage in a dialogue with the American public about what it means to be gay.
I'm the parent of a 12-year-old son. I'm a tolerant person. I'd probably like you a lot as a friend. But I would be an irresponsible parent if I was to knowingly allow my son to...
Why? Why?
All right, you're a homosexual. You may not be interested in my son, but with that knowledge, I couldn't knowingly.
Let me refer you, if I may, to the Boy Scouts' own literature on the subject. Myth number 1 about child molesters is that they tend to be gay. The Boy Scouts themselves say this is not true. And if you spend all your time looking for homosexual child molesters, you will let the real...
I remember arguing with myself on the issue of child molestation, and I said, well, gays aren't any more likely to molest kids.
It's an understandable concern. My wife even expressed that to me when we've had discussions regarding Tim.
It's illegal. The consequences are horrible, besides which they know it is horribly immoral because of the damage it does to the kid. So my logic told me that this wasn't true. And then, of course, I read the studies that showed that gays were much less likely.
The Boy Scouts themselves say that homosexuals are no more likely to be child molesters than heterosexuals.
My husband watched Larry King live each night, and I was sitting at the desk, and I looked up, and there was Tim on Larry King Live, and I said, oh my gosh, there's Tim.
This lawsuit has been like cycling through publicity. My life will be like totally normal for years, and then something will happen. I remember I once did Crossfire, on CNN Crossfire show. On the left was Tom Brady.
On the right was Pat Buchanan. In the Crossfire, Tim Curran, Eagle Scout and homosexual.
I got a whole lot out of my experience as a scout. I learned a lot about leadership, a lot of skills.
Are you familiar with NAMBLA?
I've heard
What does NAMBLA stand for?
NAMBLA stands for...
They would like to have voluntary sex between men and boys, men and children.
Look, that's not my issue, and that's
no, it would be an issue. If I believed that having sex with 14 or 15-year-old girls was acceptable, you shouldn't put me in head of the Girl Scouts.
Let's talk about this issue. With me as a Boy Scout leader, I do not think that there should be sexual relations between adult leaders in the Boy Scouts and their charges. And I don't think that there should be sexual relations between teachers and their charges. I don't think there should be sexual relations between YMCA counselors and their charges. Between professional people and the youth they counsel, I don't think there should be sexual relations.
Pat, for heaven's sakes, it is not immoral to be a homosexual. I feel very sorry for a homosexual.
Why do you say it's not
Pat,
immoral?
He has that proclivity. It's in his genes. He cannot help it.
He was no help at all. I still have the tape of the show, and he says something like, I really feel sorry for this young man, but I don't think that you should, take away his rights just because he's a poor, pathetic homosexual. I'm like, thanks, Tom. I don't need your help. Cool it. I'll take care of this myself.
You come in as a role model, you set the pace and say to these kids, hey, homosexuality is acceptable.
That's baloney.
No, it isn't. The inclination to commit anal and oral copulation is clearly a very poor role model. So I say to Southern California, look out. They are trying to take your children.
There were always people who felt that there was absolutely no reason that they couldn't say that homosexuals are sick, and dangerous and perverted and immoral and probably out to steal children. In the last few years, that's changed. And in the most recent rush of publicity, all the media coverage has been neutral to sympathetic. I haven't gotten one nasty letter. And that, to me, is amazing. What it says is that the American people are evolving on the questions of gay rights.
There was always hope, and I always knew that it was going to have a positive conclusion. And the California Supreme Court ruling just a year ago was what it was I couldn't believe that this was the end of it.
Today, the state Supreme Court sided with the Boy Scouts of America. Because it is a private club and not a business, banning gays does not violate the civil rights law.
Rumor was that it was going to go against us, so I was prepared for when the ruling actually came down.
It was very, very sad. It was going around with a lump in your throat for 2 weeks, probably, knowing that it was over with, all of that work. All of that work.
You're the man. Come on, let's go. Oh my, what's that Owen crap? Come on, march with us. Guys want to walk with us? Grab a sign.
The sign.
Dude, read the sign.
We're helping Steve.
By 14-year-old Eagle Scout Stephen Koza. Stephen believes the Boy Scouts of America is a great program for kids, except he says it discriminates against gay youth and adults.
One guy slipped me off and he's like, get out of here.
So you, Stephen?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You were like flipping out. No. What's the one on my side? Oh, there you go.
I was kind of teased in school because people would be like, yeah, your brother's gay and all this stuff, and it really bugged me because I don't like when people like talk about my brother. Mostly just guys. I don't know why, but guys just tease me about it. I don't think any girls teased me about it.
I was in a car coming home from this way, Showboats, and these kids were saying, oh, that person's gay, that guy's a faggot. And then I just started saying, oh yeah, my friend's heterosexual, that guy's... So I'm trying to change it.
I always wonder, like, what if they found out that the most popular girl or popular boy in school was gay or lesbian? I wonder if they would still be the most popular, now that they're different.
Yeah. Most people, I think, would probably reject them and not want to be their friends because they'd be like...
Someone really popular said that they would be like,
you'd be like, okay, you're not popular anymore.
Yeah. How would you know when you're that young?
Oh, if you're attracted
well,
do you know if you're heterosexual, or do you like guys yet? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, then that's the same
Were you teased?
Just a little bit at first, but it got a little better when I got on TV.
God, people today, yesterday even were like, ew, I don't you were embarrassed in front of the class. You didn't want Miss Nelson to talk about it.
Stephen came into our troop at, I believe, age 11, and he's a lovely person, and he fit right in. We are a backpacking troop, and a lot of boys like that. Every month there is an outing of some kind. They have the camaraderie of sitting around a campfire, and they sing songs. And I think they come away from that with this feeling of, we're okay. And and life is okay, and I can do it. I get a little emotional because that's what it gives them. The first time that I was aware of Scouting for All was when Scott Koza called me and asked if he could call the rest of the troop about getting permission for their scouts to attend the Gay Freedom Parade in San Francisco.
They were sort of appalled that we would do this, and how could I take my son in the Gay Freedom Day Parade?
Where did this come from? Why? I had no idea what it was all about.
And so they called a parent meeting and basically raked myself over the coals.
We were trying to run a troop. We could not each stand up and say, this is how I feel, this is how I feel.
Okay, guess what? Our guest has arrived. Joining us here in the studio is Steve Koza. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Hi, pretty good.
Thanks for coming in here. We really appreciate having you. Did it surprise you to find out that the policy existed?
Yeah, it really shocked me at first because, I mean, they're the only youth organization that's not part of a religious group that discriminates.
Right.
Like 4-H doesn't or Girl Scouts.
You're straight, or does that not matter at age 13?
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Because being gay is normal, so why would it matter? And then I say, yeah, I'm straight.
Just like a good scout.
It's just the parents that disagree with us and are arguing against us. It's just about 3 parents who are really evil. But the kids are all nice to me, and they're pretty supportive. They've actually came up to me and said I'm doing a good job.
I just want to say, not a lot of people our age will stand up for themselves.
No.
Have you ever done that?
Not really. Steve, did it take you a while to decide that you were going to do this?
I just couldn't imagine being gay and being discriminated against. I mean, so I just had to take a stand no matter what.
I don't think it began with Stephen. He didn't get this idea all by himself. This would be ludicrous. Whether or not it was appropriate to use a child at that age to do that is another question.
12 years old taking this stand on this issue, it just... I don't think any parent could make their kid do that. It bothers me when people say, I'm making him do that.
I'm making all the choices I want. I mean, he can't make me do anything.
Stephen feels, and he says this a lot, the Scout Oath tells you to love one another, not just certain one another's, but everyone, and yet they're excluding certain people based on their sexual orientation. Now, he's a very intelligent young man, and he sees that is contradictory.
Parents are supposed to pass on their values about sportsmanship, value of a good education.
There was an incident on the playground where Stephen broke up a fight between a couple of kids. My son saw that go on. So my son comes home and he tells me the story, and I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds like Stephen. Well, a couple of weeks go by and my son comes home and he goes, Dad, you're not going to believe what I did today. And I said, what? He goes, I did a Stephen Koza.
You say hello to assistant scoutmaster who, at least on a scout level, saw as a friend. Doesn't even say hi back to you. You could let that get to you.
My Boy Scout troop that I'm in isn't like really accepting of us anymore. Only a few people are in the troop, but I think it's because of the stand we're taking, most likely. Oh, that was a good shot.
It's not about, for us, the actual issue in discrimination in any way. We've tried to make it clear that Scouting for All or any other group can do and say what they would like, but don't bring it into us.
I wish they had made a different decision, but that doesn't take away from all the nurturing that they provided for my son, all the wonderful leadership that they provided for the troop. I know it may sound contradictory, but I feel that good people do bad things from time to time, and I think that's what happened in this case.
In March, I received a letter from the Boy Scouts of America saying that my registration had been terminated while I was free to work for change in the Boy Scouts of America. I was not free to involve scouting youth.
Dave Rice has been in scouting for a long, long time, 50, 60 years, and was a large part of our troop.
For the first few weeks, I tried to stay very busy on Tuesday evenings, troop meeting night. And along the line, it hit me that I'm not going to do another 50-miler with the Scouts. You never know what it's like to get that letter until you open the envelope and read it. And then is the only time you can understand what it must have been like for Tim Curran. No, you don't know what it'll be like. You don't know what it'll be like to be a gay person in scouting until you get that letter.
As I think I mentioned to you, 60 Minutes was interested in this issue, a couple months ago. But they've gotten rid of us. They've gotten rid of Dave and myself. Stephen's still there.
Right there. Don't touch me. I'll get it off.
Right? Under your nose.
You know it's not powder sugar. It's my dry skin.
Excuse me. Oh, okay. Well,
you know it's not.
He's had no problems coming up through the ranks of scouting so far. People have been enthusiastic about improving him at his board of review each time he goes for the next rank. Now we're wondering, is somebody going to pull something to stop him from getting Eagle?
Nothing happened with Dave Rice until I lost. And they felt that emboldened them. If I had won, they would not have done that to Dave Rice. And I think Steve is at the same risk, honestly. That if they think they can, has nothing to do with justice, has nothing to do with trustworthiness, loyalty, helpfulness, friendliness, nothing to do with any of that. Do they think they can get away with it?
Hi, I'm right now listening to a radio station in Washington, D.C. I'm interested in finding out how I can sign Steve Coe's petition. I hope to hear back from you all. Bye-bye.
I'll do you a favor, Mr. Steve Coe. Don't kill your motherfucker. You come anywhere near me, I'll kill you. Do you understand what sometimes happens to those who talk too much? They get whacked. You think this is an empty threat? You son of a...
We've gotten some emails that have been very obscene.
He and his family take some precautions. We're advised to by police.
Our God and our Creator, we're indeed grateful for this night and for the spirit of love that has visited us here in this place. Grateful for the opportunity to meet together. We ask a blessing upon this meal. Amen. Dig in, folks.
Yep. Thank you, Robert. Oh, this looks so good.
I think them kicking me out was an attempt to get this whole thing out of their troop. Because I think most people, or most parents in my position, would have been very upset.
But I think they saw you as a threat. It was a threat. They panicked. They were scared.
I would just walk in the meetings and they wouldn't even talk to me.
It just scared them to death.
I never mentioned anything about scouting for all. I just go in there and do what I did as a scout leader.
How are you going to feel if the policy isn't changed? How will you feel about what you've done?
We'll still keep on fighting. We're not going to give up, but we're just hoping that they'll change it because it's wrong.
I hope you know how proud I am of you. And I think you know I'm taking what you do extremely personally. I've learned a number of things, both as a gay man and as someone who now is almost 17 years HIV. Every single day is important. One of the thoughts I carried with me, if Stephen can do this at your age, I certainly can do it too. And so it goes both ways, sport. I'm no more inspirational to you than you are to me, and as you are to many people. I appreciate it.
Well, Stephen, you're doing the right thing.
It's been tough.
Yeah, use my napkin.
Sorry. Yeah,
That's all right, use my napkin.
The salt won't hurt it, you know.
Come here.
You're such a good kid.
This is a good kid.
That's so cute.
Hang in there, buddy.
I was never taught to be a bigot in scouting, and I don't know why they're trying to teach young people that now. And when I hear about young people in the program that speak out against the policy, when I hear about people that, you know, are against this policy, gay and straight alike, you know, I think, you know, wait, no, there's something good about the scouting program. I'm an American. I grew up in America. I have this belief in our country and that justice will prevail.
The Boy Scouts letter of expulsion was actually a defining moment in my life. Never before had I experienced such blatant bigotry and prejudice by a group that I love so dearly. I was prepared to deal with the rejection of some people, but definitely not from the Scouts. After all, Scouting taught me to give back to my community, to be involved, and to be a leader.
Our first case this morning is A-195-196, Dale v. Boy Scouts of America. Mr. Davidson.
James Dale is here to ask this court to do what the United States Supreme Court has squarely held cannot be done: to force a private, expressive association into carrying an unwanted message.
I think this whole anti-gay policy of the Boy Scouts is a new thing. I don't think that that's what the program's about. I think the program teaches equality and it teaches morality and standing up for what's right.
New Jersey plaintiff James Dale joined when he was 8 years old and was asked to leave 12 years later because he's gay.
I knew it was wrong. I knew in the bottom of my heart that that was the wrong thing, and that's not what they taught me.
It's great to see James being just the right guy for his suit. He's great. Even the facts of his case, very, very similar story to mine. It just happens to be almost exactly 10 years later.
Morally straight is defined in the Boy Scout handbook as involving purity, virtuousness, clean in thought and actions. These obviously have dimensions of sexual morality. There could have been no dispute as to what morally straight meant in this context.
He was a model scout for more than half his life. They sent him out on recruitment trips. He was their poster boy. They had him out there as exemplifying the oath and the law and the activities and the values of the organization. They found out he was gay, simply the fact he was gay, and suddenly he's out.
I remember the first court in my case sort of agreed with the Boy Scouts that, yeah, it doesn't mean anything to kick somebody out who's gay. You know, who cares about gay people? The judge went so far as to even quote, you know, brimstone and fire, Sodom and Gomorrah, and called me a sodomite.
When I filed this case, the way the press responded to it and the public talked about it was mostly, why are the gays trying to get into the Boy Scouts? That was the way they framed it, and some people were against. Several years later, most people talked about it as, why are the Boy Scouts doing this to gay kids? Why are the Boy Scouts kicking out gay members? Why are the Boy Scouts refusing qualified gay adults?
Something interesting has happened, actually, in 17 years of litigation. When you're in the public eye for that long, you can see things change.
Today, the New Jersey Supreme Court ruled that the Boy Scouts cannot bar homosexuals.
In a unanimous decision, the New Jersey State Supreme Court ruled that the Boy Scouts is considered a, quote,
Today, the court agreed with Dale and ruled the Boy Scouts' ban on gays violates New Jersey's anti-discrimination laws.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I won. I can't believe that it's almost like a Davy and Goliath story, that the Boy Scouts is this huge national organization with tremendous amounts of resources that they've been pouring into this case. And I won.
James Dale is my hero. Mainly because he's winning. Go James.
The time now is 8:38. As you probably know, the New Jersey State Supreme Court has ruled against the Boy Scouts. Dave Rice was a longtime Scout leader who was ousted from the organization for his Scouting for All beliefs. And he joins me this morning. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
You were kicked out, not because you're gay, but you were against their policy.
That's right.
I assume this recent decision will put it on a fast track to the U.S. Supreme Court.
I would hope it would be on the fast track, because that could be a very important and final decision on this issue.
Taking this stand, it's been a lot of work, but also it's been rewarding. I'm glad I have good friends, because it'd be hard. If none of my friends agreed with me, it'd be pretty hard to take this stand. So I'm glad they do.
Hey, this goes right here. Is it closing? Yeah. Come on,
Nick. Is your parents here to pick you up or not?
I don't see him. This is just what we've been talking about in class. Like, just all the effects and, like, the stress it puts on, like, teens.
Robin Reed, he was a gay student that went to Petaluma High School. He committed suicide.
I think it was on the news. They found his backpack on the Golden Gate Bridge. Like we say, he felt lonely, and he wasn't sure people, like, accepted him. Maybe talking about it would have helped him, like, a lot, I think. I mean, I had no idea that gays weren't allowed to be in Scouting. I mean, I just didn't know.
Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court, New Jersey's law against discrimination does not target expression.
Counsel, how can you say there's no infringement on expression, and you're trying to tell the group who the troop leaders can be?
Well, first of all,
isn't that how the group expresses itself? And the boys are going to know that he's gay if he's publicly gay.
Because of the Boy Scouts' expulsion of Mr. Dale for statements made outside of Scouting in which he never identified himself as a member of Scouting. Mr. Dale.
Counsel, you're being disingenuous. I mean, he was quoted in a newspaper talking about how proud he was of being gay.
Part of the point of doing this is to have people ask the hardest questions that any lawsuit has. We weren't playing you're Justice Scalia, you're Justice O'Connor, and stuff like that, but we're all pretty much aware of who the justices are.
You wanted to have somebody on your show this morning?
I would say
Jim, how are you? Chance to meet you. Yes, it's great to meet you. Thank you.
There's no more permanent seats. And we'll just rotate as many of us inside as we can, okay? All right.
I'm trying to figure out what time the people who actually got in were here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't the guy at the head of the line have betting? Am I wrong?
Yeah,
was that betting?
He did.
Every knee shall bow, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And every justice that ever sat on that court is going to confess that Jesus is Lord. Homosexuality is a sin that destroys people. They've been stealing stuff from you, kids. And so we have a case like this today.
He's a good scout leader from what I hear, and if that's what he's going to do, then that more power to him.
As long as they're a good person, it shouldn't matter what they are, what their preference is.
That's what America has been fighting. We've gone too far to go back now.
Here are students that have bought this lie, and I think that that's a lie that's perpetrated upon thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of kids in schools all across the world.
Well, it's no different than having homosexuals in there as like drunks or people that smoke cigarettes. You just don't want certain behaviors in front of young children or young boys. I hope we can prevail 9-0. I don't think this will even be close.
I'm a little concerned about how it's going to come out. I think it's going to be close. I really think it's going to be a 5-4. Whether James wins or loses at the U.S. Supreme Court, there's national press attention. There's a huge debate about this. People are being exposed to a morally straight gay adult. There's just no downside to that.
The government doesn't have the power to remake every organization in accordance with the political fashion of the day. That's for the private organizations to make their own decisions about.
When the Boy Scout says we're open to all boys, all means all. The members of Scouting do not come together in order to perpetuate discrimination. They come together for the important programs that James Dale believes in.
When I first learned the definition of morally straight, when I was 11 years old and in the Boy Scouts, it said to respect and defend the rights of all people, to be honest and open in your relationships with other people. If anybody looks at the Scouting Handbook today, they'll see the exact same phrase, because that's what being morally straight is about.
However the court decides, we've already won. And I don't think the issue is just going to go away. I think that ultimately it's a matter of how much damage the Boy Scouts do to a wonderful program before they decide to stop discriminating.
I miss watching the Scouts develop. All the stories of where I've made a difference, all the stories where I've watched kids seize the opportunity and make a difference in their own lives. I may be out of Scouting, but they can't take those memories away from me.
It's a wedding, for God's sakes. We have never probably had this type of a reception before. The planning, the program, the reservations, the this. I call it a big day. Dad actually ironed your shirt today. Did you know that?
Yeah, but don't.
Wait, no, this should be buttoned.
I can do it.
Oh, all right.
Go change.
I could help you if I want. That is so cool. Where's Citizenship of the World? Probably. Mm-hmm. That was the worst one I hated. Dad's going to wear his uniform today.
I know. Yeah, I'm sure my scout troop's going to probably walk out, but if they do, it doesn't matter.
I don't think they will.
I bet you they will. But
I don't, because the people that are coming are the ones that are supporting you. There are two families that are very angry probably about the stand, and they made it miserable for Scott and
more than two.
Stephen, and others followed them because they were too scared to speak up, even though they came up to me and said, hey, I totally agree with Stephen, but we can't fight City Hall, or I'm not going to say anything. I've been in this troop 20 years and I'm not going to make waves now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm supposed to say something too.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Oh, I'm going to say something too.
Oh, you're going to say something.
I'm going to say welcome and thank you for coming.
You go up. Listen, you just go the opposite of him. You go up and to the left and up to the front. Post the colors.
The Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law.
We've never done this before, so we're all in this together.
There's more to Steve than his smile. He does tease girls a bit, and he does get shy when girls approach him, but there's something more to him. Steve always speaks his mind. He's funny, smart, and occasionally sensitive. He tries his hardest to make everyone feel equal. That's what he was trying to do with his petition to let gays into the Boy Scouts. Congratulations, Steve.
This is really hard. I haven't spoken in 22 years in public. That's when I received my Eagle Award. I'm here today to congratulate Stephen Koza and thank him for his efforts in making scouting for all. You see, when I went through scouting, many of my scout peers and scout leaders did not accept me, and some made it obvious by calling me derogatory names. Despite these obstacles, I did receive the honor of Eagle Scout. Unfortunately, I did not receive the acceptance that I believed would come with it. When I first heard of Stephen Koza and his efforts to make scouting truly for all, I thought, wow, I knew that I could never have taken on such a huge task. To see Stephen stand up for what being a true scout should be has given new meaning to my Eagle Scout Award. Thank you for that, Stephen, and congratulations.
The journey to Eagle was pretty tough. It was a challenge, definitely, a challenge I took on. But I reached my goal. As you can see, I'm up here. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I want to thank everybody for coming to my Eagle ceremony and those in support of me taking on the Boy Scouts. I appreciate earning my Eagle, but on the other hand, I'm kind of sad because not everybody can earn their Eagle, including gays. Gay people are normal people. The only thing that's not normal is the Boy Scouts policy, which discriminates against gays.
When the Boy Scouts of America was formed in 1910, the British Scout law was rewritten to add 2 laws. A Scout is brave was one of them. Stephen, you have joined a You've joined a noble host of young people who have counted for change. You've inspired many to join in your struggle. You faced down those who have laughed at you or have threatened you. Keep at it. Keep standing for what you know is right. Believe me, in the words of the 1910 Scout Law, defeat will never down you.
The Eagle badge consists of the eagle, of course, it's a symbol of our country, and the cord knot here is, remember, do a good turn daily. Stephen, congratulations on your achievement.
Thanks.
A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful,
On my honor,
friendly,
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country,
On my honor,
to obey the
I will
scout
do my
law,
best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times,
and to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
I'm here speaking to you as an Eagle Scout. As Martin Luther King said, we must not allow any forces to make us feel like we don't count. Maintain a sense of dignity and respect. The message that I want to leave with you is that every person here is of importance, of value. And I just want to say, be proud of who you are despite what the Boy Scouts say. Thank you very much.